Welcome back to the Pump Take Sports Show. Today, we're doing a real fun episode. So we're ranking NFL fan bases, I guess based on just our perception of being NFL fans. So you should know a little, fine print here. I'm a Packers fan. He's a Giants fan, if you don't know. So there's going to be some bias in there. Both best fans. But actually, that's not true because Aiden has some thoughts about Giants fans. But we're just going to be talking about kind of what we perceive these fans to be just around other fans. So this will be fun to do, I think.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be fun.
I think the first one, as people can see, by the way, this is not a sponsorship, this like dress thing. So it's just,
no, but if they want to sponsor us, I mean,
yeah,
we're open to negotiation.
Exactly. I think we can agree on this right away. I don't think that takes much discussion. I just don't have good interactions with them. I think they're just like kind of loopy and not I just don't have good interactions with the average Cowboys fan.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things I do want to say though before I delve into my opinion, not only on this, but on the thing as a whole. So number one, obviously when we do this, we're not talking about all fans. I can definitely make this clear for the next fan base. Like we're talking about, I think, generally our own experience with like interactions with these fans, when we say meet some of them in real life, like at the bar, or like on Twitter, that kind of thing. Our general interactions with them, we see them. So when we get to like the non-existent tier, those will be fans that we like never see, we never encounter or meet, really, or at least very rarely. So with that in mind, I can definitely agree the Cowboys will go last in trash fans, because your average Cowboys fan is just, as everybody who's an NFL fan knows, just extremely obnoxious, like thinks the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl regardless of, they don't think about the cap situation or where the roster is, how the defense is doing, how they're going to get a quarterback, how they're going to assign Dak. They're instantly Super Bowl contenders at all times. And, obviously they're talking about their five Super Bowls and like their Super Bowl wins from the 90s, not even thinking about how they haven't won a playoff game in years.
It was the worst when Dak and Zeke were rookies. It was the worst.
That was at its peak for me, for sure.
If you were an NFL fan at the time and you weren't a Cowboys fan, you knew the Cowboys fans were out and about. Like you had to brace yourself to enter into like NFL Twitter. Anyway,
because at that time, when they were rookies, Zach and Zeke, they could project, and when Cowboys fans can project in the future, they're projecting the best possible outcome. So
exactly,
not much to talk about there. Everyone knows that.
You're next. Your fan base is next, and I think you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I absolutely do. So I'm biased in kind of a way that you wouldn't expect being a Giants fan. I have lots of interactions with other Giants fans, and like I said, this isn't all Giants fans. I know some really intelligent, like smart Giants fans that understand where the team is and why they got there, and they just accept. Even though we're a storied NFL franchise, we have not been good the past few years, and there's pretty clear reasons why. And, they understand what we need to do to get better. But the majority of Giants fans are just these extremely obnoxious people that, love everything the Giants do, regardless of what it is. They love the players that are on the team. They can't comprehend that there's something called getting better players. And like, you don't have to like think that every player at every position is top 5 just because they're on the Giants, And the other thing about Giants fans that I experience, most Giants fans don't know much about the NFL. They just know stuff about the Giants. I don't know if that's because like they just kind of grew up being Giants fans. A lot of them are from New York, obviously a big city, and they just kind of grew up with the Giants more than they did with the NFL. But because they don't understand stuff about the NFL, they don't understand why the Giants are bad and like why they aren't like a top 5 team, and like they don't have the best players at every position. They don't understand why drafting a running back at number 2 overall isn't good. They don't understand like why trading down is good. Like they just don't get this stuff. And so they think you're an idiot if you say that Saquon wasn't a good pick, because they think he's a good player, and that's all that they really understand. So for me, that's my little rant on Giants fans. Obviously I am a Giants fan. You can have your debate whether I'm included in this, but I'm going to put them in trash fans for sure.
Well, I think it's very a little bit doomer of you to be a Giants fan and have your own fans in trash fans. But I will say that from what I see from your Twitter and you arguing with Giants beat writers and other Giants fans constantly, I can't blame you for having this sort of animosity towards other fans. So,
and I will say before we move on, both me and the fans that I consider trash fans, we do it at the end of the day because we love the team. So that's one thing I will absolutely give Giants fans. They're loyal to the end. This is not a fan base you will see jumping to another team because, the weather isn't so fair. They're loyal, and I will give them that. And I'm the same way. That's why because I care so much about the team, that's why I can say with conviction that their fan base is trash, in my opinion, just based on looking at all the other fan bases. A lot of, if you interacted with them, you would know what I mean. But at the end of the day, like I said, they love the team, and so do I. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's all love between you and the Giants beat writers that you argue with on Twitter. Next up, we've got the New York Jumbo Jets, the other New York sports team here. So I've never met an actual Jets fan in person. I've never met an actual Jets fan to have a conversation with football with. So I can't say that I think they're the best. I can't say that I think they're trash. I think they kind of they're delusional. I think they're delusional. I mean, we both follow one YouTube channel where, one guy's delusional as a Jets fan, but they're definitely delusional. But how much of that is delusion based out of just like suffering, where you have to spin something positive in your mind that is, positive, I guess, in a world where the Jets really have nothing going for them right now other than the second overall pick.
Let me just tell you, sorry, let me just butt in here because these first three, being a Giants fan, I can tell you a lot about the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Jets. Let me tell you, the Giants and the Jets fan base, like the Jets are just a worse version of the Giant because at least the Giants have had success as a franchise. So there's something like that. There's like a source of pride that, obnoxious Giants fans can tie themselves to. At least the Jets have nothing, but they think they're like better than every, like they think they're better than every team. Like if you look at Jets fans on Twitter, I don't know too many Jets fans in real life either, but like they are the exact same way with the Giants, where they think they're just winning all the time. Like the smallest thing, they think that they're the best team in the league. Like honestly, they are a lot like Tim. A lot of them are like that, where they just like, oh, we have Brashad Perriman, best receiving core in the league. Like, we're just ridiculous nonsense. So I would put them right in the trash fans tier personally.
I'm into doing that also just because of Tim, the Jets fan that we both follow. It's funny to think that there's a chance that he might see this and that we put them there and it'll piss him off and he'll go to Twitter at us. That would be fun. Next up, we've got the first team that I think is going to go above the average fans category, and that's the New Orleans Saints. To me, the Packers and the Saints have always had a bit of a NFC top dog rivalry, but I've never really met Saints fans that have been too aggressive or unrealistic or disrespectful. I've always found that they were pretty good fans. I've always found that they love their team and that they follow their team. And I would put Saints fans in the good fans category.
Personally, I would probably put them in probably the average fans category, just because I'll agree with you. I think Saints fans are kind of underrated in a way because I see a lot of people like say Saints fans are annoying because like, who dat? Like they always think that they're like, going to be able to sign the newest free agent, even though they're consistently over the cap. But like, I think mostly that just comes from like, I know that Falcons fans and Saints fans have a huge rivalry and they hate each other. So I think if you're a Falcons fan, it's fair to rank them in trash fans. But in my own experience, I think, there's a lot of reasonable Saints fans out there and they have been a pretty good, persistently good team. So I think it is fair to rank them in the average fans. That's my personal opinion.
And yeah, I'll throw them in average fans. I do think also with the playoff misfortune that they've had recently, Saints fans that I follow at least have stuck around and they haven't gotten too like beaten down by that. So, and while everyone's making fun of them, they stick around and continue to be Saints fans. That's at least the way I perceive it. So, I think average fans or better is just where the Saints need to fall on this tier list. Next, we have Colts fans. So Colts fans to me are average. I can't say that I think they're above. I can't say that I think they're below. I just think they're an average NFL fan. I think if you're a Colts fan, you're loyal and, you stick around with the team you like. Your team right now is in a bit of a weird period, but, I don't see guys blowing everything up on Twitter. I don't see guys saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl on Twitter. So it's kind of just average. It's in the middle.
Yeah. Colts fans are like, they're one of those teams I feel like where you You meet somebody that's a Colts fan, and you're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, you know?
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
yeah, exactly.
there's just something about that team where it's like I feel like their fans are a certain way, and it's not like necessarily good or bad. Like you were
Mhm.
saying, I think average is the perfect ranking for them.
Yeah. So next
And I
up,
think honestly, the same with the next team.
yeah.
My
So
own.
no, yeah. So it's interesting you say that about the Titans because I have some thoughts about Titans
Okay.
fans. So our good friend Parfait would say trash fans. That's what he would vote because he's a Ravens fan. So clearly there's some bias in there. As someone from an outside team, the Titans until like a few years ago were nothing really. Like they didn't have anything to
Yeah.
talk about. They weren't coming at throats. And now all of a sudden they're really, really good. And with that comes this kind of like air of like we're the like grittiest team in the league that I think they kind of carry around on their back, that they think they're just like this blue nose, like tough ass team. And if you're a Titans fan, you're like a, you know, just like I can't really describe what I'm trying to like say, but I just think that they're so good and
Yeah.
so just like
I think I know what you're saying. You know, they got a
it's the
little bit of a
football guy.
taste and they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know
And
what,
like
we're all of a sudden hot shit. I kind
yeah,
of get what you're saying. I don't really have that experience with Titans fans. Like to me, they're just kind of like, you know, they know they're the Titans, and like the
yeah.
Titans are, even though they're not right now, we all know the Titans at some point are going to go back to just being average.
Hmm.
Um,
I
after
think
this
that's why
window is done.
I think that's why like average fans is where we should put them because they're definitely not trash fans. They're
No,
definitely not trash fans.
definitely not.
So I mean, and looking at the three teams we have in the trash fans category, the Titans just wouldn't fit in there. So
No.
average fans absolutely is where they belong. Next up, we've got a division rival of mine, the Chicago Bears. Oh, Bears fans, Bears fans, Bears fans, bear down, all that shit that I constantly see on Packers Twitter. As a Packers fan, obviously, I'm not going to love Bears fans. I think they're a little bit delusional. I don't think they have like the best head on their shoulders of where they think their team actually is. Um, I just don't think they're realistic with where they really are as a team. I don't know what you think about, you know, interacting with Bears.
Honestly, yeah, my interaction with Bears fan, it's funny because like they're one of those teams where I know a lot of Bears fans that are like genuinely hilarious, where it's like they accept that they're this team that's never had a good quarterback, and
Mm,
they're just like they accept being the bad news Bears, where they're just kind of like used to being, you
yeah.
know, perennially having shit luck. And there's other Bears fans, like one that comes to mind, and this is going to be like, I don't know. I do you know the guy? You know Adam Rank? Like he works for
Yeah, yeah. I hate
NFL.com.
Adam.
I can't. I despise that guy. He's
Yeah,
so
me too.
he
That's
loves his.
exactly who I think of when I think of Bears fans.
Yeah, he's like the low tier Bears fan where
Yeah,
he tries to pass it off as a joke, but he legitimately thinks the Bears are going to the Super Bowl every time they like
yeah.
sign someone off their practice squad.
No, you're
So
right.
there's those two types of Bears fans, but like there are some really good Bears fans that I do like out there that know like Chicago is just, you know, they've
Yeah.
been through some shit.
You know what? And I know my bias comes into it. Adam Rank is the reason why I would want to put them in the trash fans category, but we
Yeah.
won't. We'll put them in the average fans category just because I think they are average fans at the end of the day. Even though Adam Rank leaves a rank stank in your ears when you have to hear him just talk and say bear down on every single Instagram comment that he leaves, it's really annoying. But anyway, the Bears are average fans. Next up, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are maybe the most average fan that you can find. Like
Yeah.
they've got history. I don't think they're arrogant in any way. Like I think they're kind of I think they've been in speculation on Twitter more lately and talking a lot more because of the Tua stuff. You
Hmm.
know, some Dolphins fans hate when you say Tua sucks. Some
Yeah.
of them love Tua and like will die with Tua. Some of them want Tua gone and like need him shipped away. But I think that averages out to like a pretty like even keel
Yep.
fan base.
Yeah,
What
I
do
was going to say the
you
same thing. To me, it's very similar to what I was saying about the Bears, where it's like I know personally some Dolphins fans, and they're like, you know, they're just great football fans, you know.
think? Mhm.
And then like there's others that you see where it's like it's exactly like you said, you they can't handle to a slander, and you know that you're going to find that with a lot of NFL fan bases when you say their quarterback isn't good because he isn't. And I'm not saying that's the case with Tua. I'm just saying, you know, NFL fans are defensive.
Yeah,
So I think that averages out to being just an average fan.
yeah, I agree with you for sure. Average is going to be a category that gets a lot put into it because there's a lot of just average fans out there. That's just the way the NFL just kind of works. So next up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Yeah, so this is weird, and you're gonna find this a lot when we get to the Seahawks as well, the team just below them.
Mhm.
Where it's like Chiefs fans would have been probably the quintessential average fans a couple years ago, and then Patrick Mahomes turned out to be, the
Yeah.
most talented quarterback of all time, and now you have fans where it's like, man, I see some obnoxious Kansas City fans where it's just like they just came out of the woodwork
Yeah.
when Kansas City became good, and it's like it's pretty clear that that they have not been around for a long time. Which
100%.
in a nutshell, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're like self-aware, like
Yeah.
hey, I picked this team at the right time. That's fine. I'm not somebody to judge a bandwagon fan or anything
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Especially when you're a new NFL fan.
Yeah.
But the people that are like, oh, Chiefs Nation since like 1964, it's like, give your head a shake, pal.
Yeah.
Like we know that that's not the case. So
No, absolutely.
I think I see a lot of that with Kansas City. But I don't think they're like trash fans necessarily, because they just like, because it's a very like specific contingent of Chiefs fans that are like that. So I don't want to like write
And
off the
also,
entire fan base.
I agree. I don't think they're trash fans. I agree with everything that you just said. It's it's also that when you're the team that's the best in the league, you're going to get talked about all the time. So you're either always having a target on your back, or you're like just boasting. Like, how the NFL just main Instagram or Twitter works, where they'll just like post just random like stuff normally just about the good 5 teams in the NFL. Like that in a nutshell causes a lot of Chiefs fans to just interact with people, because they're just like, they're the best team in the NFL. So it's just naturally going to happen. I agree with everything you said. I put them in the average category, but like fans recently have been pulling the group down a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up, we've got Cardinals fans. And Cardinals fans, I think, are good fans. I think if you're a Cardinals fan, you watch the game, you love Kyler, you love what they're doing with D-Hop. And I haven't been getting a lot of the like bandwagon-y sense of Cardinals fans like I have with like other teams. Like, even though they've been doing some really cool stuff with like Kyler, Hopkins, all that stuff, it seems more like organic Cardinals fans. That's just my take on it. I think they're good fans.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had to rank them myself, I might put them in non-existent, even though I know, like, I've seen Cardinals fans before.
Fair enough.
It's just like, I feel like I never see them. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think I know a Cardinals fan personally.
You're right.
Like,
You're actually right. Now that I kind of forgot about the non-existent category, because when you look at the tier list, I was not going to put them under trash, right? Because they're not under trash. They're not even trash.
no.
But then, like, non-existent technically isn't bad. It just means that I haven't met any, and you're right. I haven't met any either. Like, I don't. From what I just hear and like see on like Twitter and sports pages and stuff like that, it's never hostile. That's why I was going to say good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's not like the thing with like the Chargers where like people make jokes that like no one goes to their stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's truth to that, obviously. But I think of it in terms of like, yeah, I don't ever see Cardinals fans. Like, I have seen Cardinals fans. Obviously, I know Cardinals fans exist, especially after like the recent acquisitions that they've made. But it's just, yeah, if we're gonna use that category in terms of like, man, I never see Cardinals fans, that's what I would probably put them in there.
No, you're right. I think that's the time. Like, this is the time to use the non-existent category. But we were also going to use it for the next team, I think, which is the Chargers. And just like, they really are. I mean, actually, I've seen more Chargers stuff on Instagram and Twitter than I have Cardinals fan stuff. So I'll just have that, be whatever it is. So they're pretty non-existent in my opinion, but I think they're either non-existent or average. And I think we could.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would probably put them in average, because like, as much as people like to joke that no one goes to their stadium, I think there's other factors to that besides the Chargers don't have fans. And I've met like multiple Chargers fans before. So, I can't really put them in non-existent for that reason. And obviously this list is entirely subjective. So if it's going to be subjective, might as well put them where I think they go.
No, totally, man. I agree with you. And especially with Herb and, stuff trending up in the organization, there's some stuff to be excited about there. So next up, I think you have to say good fans here. Just for the poor guys that have dealt with so much, I don't think they're unrealistic with what they are. I don't think they're I just think they're good fans. I'm curious what you think, but that's where
I'm. No, I won't argue too much with that. Like, I think to put up with the 28-3 situation and still be around after that, that takes a certain will.
In
At
fact,
the same time, like they might be another one I put in non-existent because like I don't know too many Falcons fans
mhm.
personally either, but I do definitely see them around a lot more than Cardinals fans, so I don't necessarily think that's fair. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say because I don't really see them that much, but I think like the argument that you're making, I can get behind that if they're still around, after what
Yeah,
they've been through recently, they deserve to be put in good hands.
I think just for the poor guys, for the four, if any Falcons fan is just to click on this video, here's a win today, buddy. Like you're going in good fans because you've gone through the damn ringer the last few years, and if you're still like a loyal Falcons fan, then God bless you. You're in good fans. Next up, Patriots fans. Boom. That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah,
I cannot live down the days when they had Brady. I don't care how bad they are now. When they had Brady, they were annoying as hell to deal with on Twitter and whatever other social media you want to go to. I don't
yeah,
really know. I know Patriots fans in real life. I'm not saying any of them are bad guys. Nice guys actually that I know that are Patriots fans. But like, come on.
yeah.
Like,
We're ranking the fan base as a whole, and like there are some fan bases that are. I mean, there are some fans of the Patriots that like are true blue,
mm-hmm.
fans that they became fans like when they were born because they're from Boston or something,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're sticking it out now, even now that the dynasty's over. But
yeah.
there are other fans that we know historically, they joined like in like when
Mm-hmm.
they saw the Patriots come back against the Falcons, and then
Exactly.
basically stuck it in everybody's faces, even though they weren't through the hard times.
No,
So
absolutely.
I think we can put them there pretty safely.
I think even good, like I think real true Patriots fans would even agree that a lot
Yeah,
of their fan base is pretty weak. So,
exactly.
it's like this is a way I've described it to people: is if you're at a bar and you see a guy wearing a sweater or jersey of Brady or Patriots, he's probably not that big of a football fan. Where if you see him in any other jersey, he probably likes the sport a lot more. Because I just feel like the most casual fan base is Patriots fans, especially with Brady. Not so much in the last year, but you go 3 or 4 years ago, I feel like it was a very casual fan base. That's at
Yeah,
least my take on it.
I agree.
Next up, we've got my team, and I'm planting us. I'm going to be a little nice to myself, but I'm planting us in average fans. I don't think we have a great fan base. I think we're just average. And here's
Okay.
why. I'm just a sucker for this team. So every time we would lose or win a game, I'm watching the post presser on YouTube, and I'm reading the live chat. And if we lose a game, Packers fans will be the first fan base to tell you that we're doing something amazing, and will be also the first to tell our like front office that we need to like fire Mike Pettin, cut Kevin King immediately, like move on from whoever we're pissed at the time. Packers fans have a little bit of a mob mentality, where if we really like something, it's very exciting and everyone's in on it. But if we don't really like something, it's like the end of the world, and like people are calling for our defensive coordinator's head after like one game. So I think I'm a good Packers fan, but I would say that most Packers fans are good guys, but there are some just like fans that are here because the team is good, and it causes to balance out to just be average. There's just not all Packers fans are good, so I have to put us in the average fan list.
Yeah, I'll definitely default to your ranking there because you know a lot more than me. I probably, if I was doing this by myself, I would put them in good fans just because, like, there's so many times where I've been like places around the world where you're nowhere near Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
and you just see like Packers fans repping their colors
Yeah,
with
that's one
shamelessly.
yeah.
No fan base I feel like does that quite like the Packers fans do. And you got to respect that. But like I said, you interact with Packers fans a lot more than I do, so I'll defer to your judgment on that one.
So next up, we've got Ravens fans, and I think to our buddy who might watch this, we're going to put them right here for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
no, I'm just kidding. So the Ravens, I think they're good fans. I think
Really?
they're good fans. I think,
Honestly, I like the Ravens. I mean, as a team, definitely.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, man, I see a lot of obnoxious Ravens fans that like think Lamar is like the best quarterback in the league, and
Mm,
like I don't want to just make a judgment off of the worst versions of their fans. But man, yeah, I've seen some bad Ravens fans out
yeah.
there in the ether. But if you want to put them, like I have seen good fans too.
Let's
Like
put them in average then.
yeah, I mean that's probably where I would end up putting them.
Yeah, because I know what you mean, and we have a friend who's a really close friend who's a Ravens fan, so
He would definitely go in trash
he
fans.
would go in trash fans. But
Yeah,
yeah, but like we're gonna put he's almost like such a trash fan that he pulls down the weight so much that they have to fall in average fans.
Yeah, exactly.
So next up, we've got the Buccaneers. And, you know, Super Bowl winners, it's been annoying. It's been a little annoying to see Buccaneers fans.
They're coming out of the woodwork now.
They're coming out of the woodwork. There's a lot of them now that love to talk about how Devin White's the best linebacker in the league. They love to tell you about Levante David. They love Mike Evans, who's so criminally overrated that it's just unbelievable. And maybe this is just the salty fan in me, but I'm putting them there. Unless you have a revolt.
I don't know. I mean, I know it's not. I know it's not.
Tampa Bay fans after that Green Bay game where they shouldn't have called that hold at the end when they were just letting them play all game. This is a passion pick for me. This is a passion pick. I have a rivalry with Buccaneers fans over the last couple months, but what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm not gonna dispute the ranking too much because I have seen what you're seeing with like just the fans coming out of absolutely nowhere. It's like, buddy, we know that you weren't a Buccaneers fan like 2 weeks ago. It's like, it's very obvious. But also at the same time, the reason why I probably wouldn't put them in trash fans is because I've also seen a lot of Buccaneers fans who have clearly been around for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're one of those franchises that was like really bad a long time ago. So you have some of these like old head Buccaneers fans that have been around since the days where, like, I don't know if it's still the case, but I'm pretty sure they have like the longest stretch of games where they were like that. Like, I want to say that I can't remember what the exact record was, but I think it was like 0-23. Like, they lost 23 straight games over the course of multiple seasons.
Yeah.
And so like there's some guys that might still be around from that. And it's like, man, if you made it to this moment, like, you know, cheers to that. But at the same time, I know that the majority of them
like, I mean, maybe
I know the majority of them are.
Maybe this is also us just interacting with young fans on social media. We don't get the old head boomer fans that like just read the morning sports paper. Like, that's not the people we interact with, right? We're interacting with kind of like the Twitter community. So like, are you okay with leaving them in this category? Because
I'm fine with it. I'm not going to dispute it too much because I know exactly what you mean. And, you know, it's not as fun if we just put every fan base in average because they're somewhere between bad and
some
good.
Polarization. So the Vikings are next, the team, my biggest rival team. But I will say I've never really beefed too. When the Vikings were really annoying was when they won the NFC North and everyone was, I'm not even going to do it on camera.
The Keenum era?
The Keenum era. I can't even do Skull. That's how much it bothers me. But when they were all doing Skull in US Bank Stadium, they were all doing Skull and like the Minneapolis Miracle and like you can be excited, that's great for you. And they were saying like Kings of the North, like that really bothered me as a Packers fan. But I will say that like the average Vikings fan these days is just, he's an average NFL fan. I don't think they're trash. I don't think they're good. I just think they're average.
Yeah. I don't think I can argue too much with that. I definitely have seen a lot of bad. They remind me a lot of the Bears fans, honestly, where it's like there's some bad ones, but there's also some really loyal ones that understand the bad luck of the franchise, and you just kind of have to give them some credit for that. So that's right.
No, you're right. So next up, what do you think about the Los Angeles Rams? Because this is a weird one. This one could go in a few different directions.
I don't know. I'm kind of like tempted to put them in non-existent because I rarely ever see them.
Yeah, me too.
They're definitely not good. Definitely not best. They're not trash. Like, there's no like annoying.
There's just no
Rams fans.
Like, where?
Yeah, there just really isn't many Rams fans.
Yeah, Anyway, let's move on.
Not much to say about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of fans. Next, we can go to, at least this is our very biased list based on our experience of being.
You can't really make a list like this any other way.
So. No, it's all just bias. It's all in good fun. We're all football fans here. It's all in good fun. So next we have the Denver Broncos. I would put Broncos fans in good fans.
I agree. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I think they're good fans.
I like Broncos fans. I never really see them saying like being obnoxious or.
Yeah.
No, they just kind of accept what they are.
And they're
from what I've seen.
I haven't met a bad Broncos fan. In fact, I've only met good Broncos fans, so maybe that's why they fall in this category. The Bengals. So the Bungles, they had pretty much no direction until Burrow, and now that they have Burrow, there was some excitement starting to brew among them. You could tell, but then when he went down with the injury, all that kind of crumbled, and the whole like tank for Penny Sewell or whatever, all those banners that fans are bringing to the stadium. Clearly, they're ready for the next era of Cincinnati football. But what do you think about their fan base?
I would probably put them in good fans, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
It's another one of those things where it's like they've been through a lot. If you're still a legitimate, like, obviously now if you're hopping on, you can say what you will, but like there's no guarantee of success. As much as I like Joe Burrow,
Yeah, no.
So I don't know. If you're a Bengals fan, I mean, I think you're probably a pretty good fan.
Yeah.
I again, this is like a combination of like the fact that you would have been through a lot as a Bengals fan, and I don't know too many Bengals fans that like are really obnoxious and like insane. So when you have that combo, I'm gonna put you in good fans.
Yeah, no, I agree. And next up, we have a team that I think we see more than most teams on this list, and that's the Steelers. There's tons of them. I don't know if it's the viewers' experience, but I know me and you would agree, tons of Steelers fans everywhere. So lots to work with. There's a wide range of people we know that are Steelers fans, but I'm thinking mostly. I'm not thinking about the people we know. I'm thinking about like how I interact with these people on the internet. The average random Steelers fan. Oh man, I think they're loyal. They're loyal fans. Like it's a good franchise. They care about it. They're not trash. They're not trash fans.
You don't think?
No,
I'm gonna just butt right in here and say I'd put them in trash fans. Like I don't like Steelers fans at all, man. I think that that meme that's like when like an old like white guy on Twitter like says something and it's like that meme of like the 500 pictures of old white guys sitting in their cars with sunglasses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's what I picture when it like Steelers fans would be voted most likely to look like that, in my opinion.
All right. Well,
obviously, again, we're generalizing. There's some good Steelers fans. There's some great Steelers fans I know. But like the average Steelers fan that you just find like the lowest common denominator Steelers fan that you find on Twitter, they're a trash fan, and so that's how I'm gonna rank them because that's how I view them. They're just they're like right next to Cowboys fans and Patriots fans of like just being obnoxious and like hopping on like a historic team at any time because they're likely to be good.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely.
That's what I'd say. I mean, I'm sure you have that experience. Like,
oh, totally.
I'm sure because like there was like some rivalries between the Packers and the Steelers.
Totally.
Back in the mid 2000s. So
yeah, I was just gonna rank like I don't
or mid 2010s. I mean,
them as much. Like I feel like I don't run in like I know a ton of them personally, but I don't interact with them very much online. Like they just are because it's like AFC, NFC. Like we don't really cross paths.
I will say as a Giants fan, like last year there was not a lot of good moments, but like seeing the Steelers collapse from like because like I called it from like when people were saying they were one of the best teams and they were undefeated. Like I was like I look at this team and it's like this is not a top 10 team. I don't care that they're undefeated. Like they suck. Yeah. And Steelers fans were like we're the best team in the league. No, that was fun to watch.
It was also annoying. It was really annoying when they were like 13-0 this season.
Yeah,
it was just like it was brutal. Next up, we've got the Seattle Seahawks. So I've got some rivalries with some Seahawks fans on Twitter. We argue about some stuff, but I think they're genuinely good fans. Truthfully, I picture them in the same kind of boat that I picture Packers fans in, where it's like good NFC team, really good quarterback. Questions around how much we're surrounding them with. Easy to be a fan of because they're just a good team year after year because of the quarterback play. But I feel like there's a lot of polarization among them of like some guys think they're the best team in the league. And then when something goes wrong, Seahawks fans are the first ones to like go after their defensive coordinator or something like that. I put them in average. I think they're average fans.
Yeah, I would agree. It's just real quick. It's what I was mentioning earlier about the Chiefs fans. Like they were the first ones that that kind of did this, where it was like when the Seahawks became out as like the Legion of Boom, and like Russ turned out to be a good like quarterback that they took in the third round. These bandwagon fans were just coming out of nowhere. But at the same time, though, you have fans like my dad, who's been a Seahawks fan literally since the Seahawks became a team. He was a Steelers fan before that, and then the Seahawks became a team, and he was a fan since then. So you got to like think about them, those types of people who are like around forever, and then the Seahawks were finally good. So, but you factor that in, and now there's a lot of obnoxious Seahawks fans that I see on Twitter as well. So I think average fans, again, you have that balance. You put them in the middle. That's a good spot for them.
Yeah, I agree, man. And next up, we've got the Houston Texans. God, if you're a Texans fan,
put them right in non-existent because there's none left after this.
Yeah, none left. I agree. We can move on to the next team. Browns fans. So Browns fans, if
Best fans.
Yeah, I was gonna say most Browns fans I know are guys who are older, like far older than me and you both are, and they just love the Browns and have been loving the Browns for a long time. And so to see the team do well recently, I didn't even mind Browns guys on Twitter victory lapping and celebrating because they deserved it. They really.
I will say they were pissing, like a few years ago when there were rumors about Odell Beckham getting traded. Obviously, you know, I didn't believe it at all at the time. I was clearly very wrong. But Browns fans were really annoying me because they were like, "Oh, we're going to get Odell," and I was like, "You're an idiot. There's no way you're getting Odell." They got Odell, and they were a little bit annoying to me after that. But you know what? You can't even really blame them. They were bad for so long, and you know the trade obviously didn't work out for them. But you know, in any case, they've been through a lot. You know, now they're finally good. I just happy for them. Best fans.
You root for them. Best fans.
Yeah.
Next, we've got the Raiders. So this is the classic Raiders guy meme of like the sunglasses and like the jean shorts, and like the like meme I'm talking about of Raiders fans. I mean, what is there to say about Raiders fans, really, other than what all the memes just tell you about Raiders fans? Like the aggressive, just like, you know how it is. I'm sure there's great Raiders fans out there. Once again, we're just joking and generalizing about all this stuff. But to me, they're going to either be an average or trash fans.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put them in average just because I honestly don't know. Like, I know the stereotypes about Raiders fans, but I actually don't know too many Raiders fans personally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think average is a fine spot for them. We all know what the memes about them are. So
that's a next fair spot. Before I release my finger, we can agree that the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
Garbage.
They should. You know what? They could just be the new picture for the trash fans here.
Yes, totally, man. I agree. It's so infuriating going on Eagles Twitter. Don't do it. You'll just save yourself the trouble. It's just.
I will say though, like, I did like when there was the Carson Wentz rumors, and even after like the season ended, like I wanted to know. Obviously, the Giants ended their season was heavily reliant on how the Eagles ended their season. And I wanted to see what the Eagles were saying about all of it. So I went and like checked out some of their fan bases. There are, and I even know some of them. There are a lot of like Eagles fans that are actually good. Like they're a lot like what I've been saying about the Bears fans and who was the other one? The Vikings fans, where it's like they just kind of like are very self-aware and they're not obnoxious and they're just like, yeah, we're just one of those teams that has like just been shit. We've had shit luck. We've been like a laughing stock. Mm-hmm. There are some of them that are self-aware, but the majority of Eagles fans you see are so obnoxious that they can't even average things out in this case because they're just so bad.
Yeah, 100%. They might actually have the highest number of bad fans. Yeah. Like if you were to look on like a ratio thing, they might have the highest like outweighing ratio. Like there are good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones that it can't even out. So next up, we've got Niners fans. Oh, Niners fans. I think they're actually good fans. I think they're good fans. But the amount of just hate that brewed in my heart after that game when we just got blown out and Niners fans were just victory lapping all over it. And like, I will not forget Raheem Mostert and what he did to Green Bay. I'm just not ever going to forget it. It pains me to look at every time I look at this logo, I can't not think of anything else. It was maybe the saddest I've been as just like a Packers fan. It was just horrible. Like it was just gut wrenching. So I'm going to let you rank this one because I just can't be involved with ranking it.
This is one I think I would just put in average because to me, it's like I don't have that sentimental attachment to it. In fact, like the Giants have beat the 49ers in some big games over the years. So it's like I don't have that kind of experience. But at the same time, it's like I see some reasonable Niners fans and I see some really obnoxious ones. And honestly, I would lean towards putting them in good more than bad. But there's this commercial when I watch Warriors games for the 49ers, because obviously they're both in the Bay Area. And they play this song that I'm sure you've heard that goes like bang, bang, Niner gang. And it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So I'm putting them in average and I'm tempted to put them in trash just for that. So that's where they go.
Just a PSA, Aiden has Steph Curry on his fantasy team, so that's why he's watching GSW games because he has to make sure the chef is doing well for his team. So next we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know one Jaguars fan, so I would put them in non-existent, but I know one. So I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna vote to put them in non-existent anyway, because they just don't exist. Am I wrong? Do they exist out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same
Once again,
way. Like
don't let the Trevor Lawrence stuff make it seem like they exist.
yeah, because that's just new people. Like
Yeah,
I'm a Jags fan now.
yeah.
There definitely were when the Jags were good, when they had the
Oh, in
really like
Jacksonville,
yeah,
totally.
when they were Saxonville. But now not so much. You don't really see them much anymore. Yeah, non-existence probably a good spot for them.
So next we've got the Carolina Panthers, and this is a team I would put in
Man.
good fans.
When they were like the worst fans in the league, like when the Panthers were good and everybody hated Panthers fans.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I
Wow,
do.
that just like that's the first time I thought about that. Was just now. Yeah, people hated Panthers fans, but we're a long way from where that is now. Now you like
way. That's
now
why
you don't see them
nowadays.
very
If you're a Panthers fan, like you're kind of a good fan. I think if you're still loyal to the Panthers, like through all that's happened,
Yeah, I'd probably throw them in average, but I won't dispute good.
I'll put them in average. I think we have a good number of teams in average based on the fact that there's like 32 teams in the NFL. Like the Panthers are just an average fan base. I just think that's a good way to call it. Lions fans. Oh,
I'd put them in good personally.
I put them in good too. Even though they're in my division, I've always said this to people. They're like, "Oh, you don't hate the Lions." I'm like, "Well, the Lions are never a threat."
How do you hate the Lions?
You can't hate the Lions. They're just like the team in Detroit. I've actually seen a Lions game live. I like Lions fans. I feel bad for them a little bit, and like,
yeah,
I rate them. I think they're good guys. Like they're good guys. Good. They're trying to be just good football fans out there, and they're succeeding in that.
Yeah. Whenever I think of the Lions, I think of that one. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but it's like this one. It's from a YouTube video from like the mid 2000s, where it's like guys from Cleveland making a song about Cleveland, and at the end they say, "At least we're not Detroit."
Yeah.
And that just makes me think of what Detroit is. If Cleveland is saying, "At least we're not you," you know, that's where you go. So if you're sticking it out in Detroit, that's where you go.
I completely agree. So next is a fan base that I think you're going to disagree with me on, but I'm going to put them
for
in
sure.
Fans. You're going to put them in trash, right?
Yes, absolutely.
No, so let's put them in average because I think they're good. I think Bills fans are just like the whole Bills Mafia, Orchard Park, breaking team.
Yeah.
Stupid. It's gimmicky, but I think it's like
it's not that I don't like though, because like a year ago I would have put them in probably best fans because I love those. I love those Bills fans, like the loyal ones.
Yeah.
But the ones who like are on Twitter now, like that think Josh Allen is like an elite quarterback because he had one good season. It's like those are the ones that like it's like, you know, that's the ones I don't like, you know.
I know, and I knew you'd feel
like,
that way, so I'm gonna put them in average so that it balances out because I think
if you want to put them in good fans, I'm not gonna.
No, we'll put them in average.
I do love those fans, like those fans, you know, and I get it, you know, and those ones probably are. There's some crossover between those ones that is like. I don't know, but it's like again, like in a year, I'm gonna feel bad because the Bills are probably not going to be as good as people think they are next year. It's like, you know, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a pretty good track record of spotting the teams where it's like everyone thinks they're just like success is just gonna copy and paste over year to year. I have a pretty good track record of spotting which teams are kind of fraudulent, and that's the Bills.
Yeah, I can see a similar thing with what happened to the Ravens, where like they were really, really amazing in Lamar's MVP season, and now they've kind of like they're not bad. They're not a bad.
I wouldn't put them in that category though, because like they still made the playoffs. Like I don't think the Bills are going to make the playoffs next year. As crazy as that might sound now.
Well, I guess that's where the difference is then in our opinion.
So again, I'll probably put them in best fan or back in good fans in a year when like those people that are crazy and think Josh Allen is like the top 3 QB are gone.
Yeah.
And they'll have moved on to a different team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This one though, I'm gonna just put my foot down and put them in trash fans because I cannot stand watching.
Well, I was gonna ask you to rank this one because obviously they're in your division. I don't really interact with them too much, so
man,
much more.
The NFC East just belongs in the trash tier. That like these fans are awful, man. Let me tell you, like they're all very similar, where they just like they think their team is so like Washington, and I you know what I kind of can't even blame them because a lot of like casual NFL fans think that Washington is like the next big thing because like they have some good young pieces on their defense and that's undeniable. But like this team is not good, and they think they are like somehow going to win a Super Bowl without a quarterback. Like they don't have a quarterback on their roster right now besides Heineke. Like what do you do? Like what do you think you're just gonna? I don't know.
You know, I have a funny story.
They're bad.
I have a funny story to add in right before we wrap this up, just about football team fans. So me and Kale were at a Oktoberfest celebration, and there was a guy wearing a sweater that said, well, it said the Washington football team's former name on it. So it was just, a football sweater. So I walked up to him, and I was wearing my Packers sweater. I said, "Hey man, you follow the NFL?" And he looks at me and I says, "Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan." And I just couldn't believe my eyes to see a guy wearing a Washington football team hoodie saying he's a Cowboys fan. I'm like, "What? You're a Cowboys fan? Like, why are you wearing that?" He's like, "Oh, I just like the colors." And after that, I walked away. I couldn't have a football conversation with this guy, because if you're wearing interdivisional colors publicly, like, you must have lost a bet. But this guy was just doing it for no reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that says a lot about both football team and Cowboys fans, I would say.
Yeah,
I think that's a good note to end it on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with this list. Obviously, we'll say it for the fifth time. It's all subjective. If you're a fan of one of these teams, we don't hate you. We don't hate your team or your fans. Yeah. This is just like a little fun exercise to kind of, go based on our experience. In all of these fan bases, even the Cowboys and some of the worst fans, I know people that are great football fans and great fans of those teams. So, it doesn't apply to everybody, just generally our own experience.
Yeah, this is all for good fun. Don't come at our throats in the comments if you're like a Jets fan or Buccaneers fan. Because
but I will say, if you do want to voice your displeasure with some of our takes, we'll be happy
please
take those opinions in the comments.
Point. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, especially if you're an Eagles fan, like, let's talk.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys. It was a good fun exercise just to like gauge where we think fans are in the NFL. So we'll see you next time, and it's been a pleasure. See ya.